All right, a very good day to everybody. Hello, my name is Kelly Fong, and I will be your MC for today's Clayworks workshop. Before we start, can everyone please rename themselves so you format shown on screen? A is for those of you in kindergarten or elementary, B is for those in middle school to high school, and C is for those in university or working. For example, our character Bree is in kindergarten, so her name would be A_Bree. All right, we'll wait for around 2 more minutes for you guys to rename yourselves. Now, while you're all renaming yourselves, for those who've finished, can you please tell me what ideas you have for your creations today in the chat box? I personally would like to make a little Bree pendant to wear around my neck. But what do you guys want to do? Ooh, a plate. That is such a good idea. Honestly, that is really cute. That would be really cute. Oh my God, a Bib and Bob figure. That would be super cute. Oh, earrings. I've never thought of that. I think I would really love to wear clay earrings. Those would be super cute. I think I see a lot of plates, and good thing that today our speaker will be mainly teaching us how to make a plate. So that's great for those people who would like to make Bynamic character plates. Ooh, I see Genshin characters here. Fish. Oh my God, I love fish. Fishes are so cute. Okay, I'm really excited to see all of your creations. And another thing is if you are having trouble renaming yourselves, don't hesitate to notify us and we can help you. Okay, it's already been 2 minutes. Don't feel free to keep on typing in the chat about what you would like to make. But moving on, we are going to move on to the actual workshop. All right, so I bet you guys can't wait any longer to play with your clay. That rhymes. So first and foremost, we will be working with clay from our Clayworks clay modeling kit. So I hope all of you have your kits in front of you. Mine is in this little plastic box, and to remind you, it'll consist of your clay, your sculpting tools, and your paint, right? And your two paintbrushes. And don't forget the additional materials, the cup of water and the plastic mat, scissors, and a piece of plain paper for you to draw on. Okay, so we all know that today's workshop is meant for creating pieces of art from clay, but we need someone to guide us for that. So for that role, we have invited Kat Chika. Hi, Kat.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
She is an amazing artist who's also our Bino School alumni and is now a student in the LaSalle College of the Arts. Don't forget to follow her at artfashion_fuse. So before we start, Kat, may I ask, how does it feel to be back in Bynamic for this year as a guest speaker?
I'm so glad I can once again join such a wonderful event. I remember like around 5 years ago, I was there as a Bynamic committee. And now I get to be a guest speaker, and that is such an honor.
Well, Bynamic 2021 is glad to have you back. Okay, we won't distract you guys any further. Everyone give a warm welcome to Kachika so she can start the workshop. Okay.
Hi. Hi, Miss
everybody.
Chika.
Hello. Wonderful to see everybody. Is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay, then, if everybody is ready, then we can start by folding your art paper in half, like I've done right here. It doesn't have to be a very, very big paper, not even a new paper. I used the things that I already had.
Is this enough? Is this big enough?
You can use an A5 paper if you want, or an A4 paper folded in half. Depends on how big you want the object to be.
A regular note paper. I think this is
anything will do. So once you're done folding it in half, like I did right here, you can draw a heart. So I'm going to make a brie plate today, which is why I requested a heart for you guys. For those of you who wants to make brie, that's the easiest possible way to make it. But if you guys want bloom, then just simply draw yourself a flower like this. So in the shape of bloom, this is so that we can have a stencil for us to cut out the clay later on. And if you guys want Bib and Bob, look here. I got a little stencil of them.
But how about if we don't want to make those, if we want to make other stuff?
Well, if you want to make other stuff, you can just draw the outline. Make sure it's not so hard. But today I'm going to show you guys how to make a plate. So, yeah. So I've cut out my heart already like this, if everybody can see it through my screen. And once we're ready with the heart, we would also want to make a little hand like this, since our characters have little fingers.
I don't.
Like that.
Mine's have friends.
You can just simply draw a simple hand that consists of 4 fingers, which is enough. Like that. And just simply do that. Like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, because later on, after you cut it out and we put it on the clay, we can basically edit it again. We can basically make it much better than what the drawing was. Okay. So once everyone has their cutout, like I do over here, we can take the clay. So everyone, this is an air dry clay. Be mindful that if you're under a room of AC, you might want to redirect the air so it doesn't go straight to your clay and make it dry too quickly before you can shape it properly. All right, so here's the clay like you guys received in the kit. It should be quite moist and bouncy like this. And we're going to make the base of the heart with maybe around 3/4 of the clay right here. So if you guys have maybe like a ruler or this kit right here, this little pencil, if you can see, it's not a pencil, but it's more like a little cutting tool. You can basically cut your clay right there. Ooh, mine fell. So you can cut it basically. I prefer using like something long and metal like this. But if you guys do not have, a normal ruler would do. Just like that. So you can have a nice straight cut. Just like that. Okay, we'll set this little piece aside, and this is going to be for our fingers and hands. Don't forget to wrap it around nicely so that it doesn't dry out.
Yes, I also have another question. If we want to make animals, is it okay?
It is up to you, but as I said before, we're going to make a plate today, so it will be much easier if you could maybe follow what I do first, and later on, maybe after you finish with this plate, you can try something else. Okay? So now we would like to wet our hands with the water that we've prepared, so that the clay doesn't stick to our hand. So wet it just generously like that. Don't make sure it's not too dripping, so the clay does not get too watery. Just like that. So what you want to do is soften the clay, like pat it down really, really gently, like that. You don't need to bang the table for this, because this clay is very, very pliable. Like that. Make sure that you flatten it down until it's maybe around 1 centimeter thick. So if you have your ruler right here, it should be at least this thick. All right. Now, you can use other tools as well, like rolling pin if you have, but I personally prefer having hands. because then you can control how it looks, you know. Some people like that unfinished look. Well, I do like that kind of look, so I prefer using my hands. Now, when you want to smooth out the clay, you can simply dip your fingers in the water and then just rub the hands, your fingers or your palm around the clay so that it will be smoother. The more water
how much hands do you have to make?
You can make 2 hands, so 1 left, 1 right.
Oh, God, someone hasn't caught up yet. So I think they are still cutting out the template. So if you could, yeah.
No worries, I'm still smoothing out my clay too. So while I'm doing this, you guys can take your time to catch up. I won't go too fast.
Okay, thank you, Kat.
Is it okay with a little big?
All right, any size will do. Just as long as you can fit it inside the clay.
I could. What do we need?
How's everybody doing? Everybody great?
Yep, I'm ready. And how much clay do we out?
We need 3/4 of the block of clay. So if you see that block of clay we have before, take 3/4 of it and you can just flatten that part out. When we leave this little part for later, okay?
Just smoothing the clay out now. Just smoothing the clay out.
Okay, that's great. It's okay if you don't have it perfect. So this is just something for you guys to get to start with. You know, these things could end up being a hobby. I actually did it before.
I made a grave.
Oh, that's nice.
No, literally, I made a grave.
I made clay ever since I studied in grade 9 in Binus. So I like this medium because it makes me, you know, calm whenever I make this. This is not something that I wish everyone would get stressed out by just because of the minor imperfections. So even if you have a little dent or something isn't smooth, it's all right. Everyone has their own style. And later on, maybe when you start making more of this, you'll eventually have the better skills, you know, to make different things. And I hope that everyone will start maybe enjoying, you know, their quarantine with clay a little bit more.
Yep. Here's my block.
All right.
Make it into a circle, right?
Just flatten it down. It doesn't have to be a circle. So from the block you have before, just squish it down and make it smooth on the top.
I have a nice way. I literally use this side of my hand and just karate chop it.
Needs more water.
You can do it in any way you like.
How to make it not stick?
Use water. So your hands have to be really wet in order for the clay to not be so sticky.
Then use water.
So you need to drench your hands in water. So it's okay if your hands become like mine. See, very, very messy.
Mine's dirty.
How to make it not
That's all right. See, the more water I use, the smoother it looks.
Okay.
more?
My room's getting to look dirty now.
So, and when you guys have excess water, like you see here, I've made myself a lot of like mud on the top. You can simply get another piece of paper, put it on top, smooth it out, and this will take the excess water. Then you can smooth it out again with your hand, but this time it will have less mud on top. Just like that. See, as you can see on the paper, this is the
This thing is dirty. Even my room is dirty a bit. I could clean it.
It's all right. My table is now a little bit dirty, so don't be afraid to get dirty. This clay will be very
I'm not scared actually. I play
so when you want to clean it, you just simply clean it with water.
In my village, I play with mud. Yeah.
Okay, so after you guys flatten it out and you seem to be okay with the thickness and everything, you want to wait for a little bit before you can put the stencils on top. So wait for the top part to be a little bit more dry, so not as wet as before.
Just use tissue.
Try not to use tissue. Tissue will make weird leftovers, you know. So tissue will basically stick onto this clay. So try not to use newspapers or any kind of paper that is like too thin. If not, it will get embedded inside.
15 minutes lagi. Aja. Start kapan? Bilang startnya.
It's dry very fast.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just smoothing the outside a bit.
See, my clay is
Just
done.
wait. See, it's dirty. Way dirty. See?
Miss, I'm already done.
Wait for the clay to be a little bit more dry on top, okay? For those of you who are done making the clay flat, make sure you leave a little bit of time for the top part of the clay to dry out a little bit so that your paper stencils will not stick onto it. So while the rest catch up, maybe those who are done, you can maybe prepare your tools like these. You will need these as you need to cut out the shapes later on. These. And you also need this one, the one that looks like a foot, right? Like that. This is to smooth out the edges. We won't be using this side too much, or this side too much either. So yeah.
I forgot to use an apron.
I'm not using an apron.
That's all right.
Because I use an old shirt.
Let me just smoothen out the edges.
So we need this one, right?
Much more better.
You can take this time to maybe wash a bit off the clay on the hands.
First.
You know, you can
use this one, right?
The toilet for a while waiting for the top to dry out a little bit. Wash your hands, and you can come back to cutting this after.
I already did that.
All right.
I need to get with tissue.
It's still very wet.
All right, you can wait a little bit longer and maybe get some more paper to tap off the excess liquid on top of the clay. Okay, my clay seems to be a little bit drier now, so I'm going to proceed. It's okay if you guys haven't caught up to my pace yet. So just keep working on it, and you can just listen to how I do it. And hopefully you guys will catch up pretty quickly too. All right, so for those of you who are done flattening out the clay and making sure it's a little bit dry on top, you can take your stencil like I have here in the shape of a heart. And I would place it on top, just like that.
That's right. It's not such a good heart.
Well, I like mine this way, so it doesn't have to follow this shape. But, you know, you can just simply do whatever you like. For some people, maybe you would like to have
cut it, all right?
edges. Just like that. So after you take that heart, then take your sharp tool, this cutting tool right here, the one that looks kind of like a dagger, like that. And we can start cutting it down.
Okay.
Like that. So once you've cut it, just cut a little bit on the edge so that you can lift the rest of the clay out. Just like that. So don't throw away this excess clay, because this piece will be useful for making the edges. Okay, so the edges of the plate are going to be made out of this excess clay from the main body.
I am done.
Done?
It's not a really good job.
It's all right. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can still shape it since the clay is still wet. So it's okay if you made it a little bit wonky. So yeah, just relax. Don't need to pressure yourself to make this perfect, you know. You can just simply have fun with it. Just like that. So when you have your shape cut out like this, you would get a little bit of water. So tap this little cutting tool in the water and just smooth out those edges on the side. But try to do this swiping up motion on the sides like that. This will create a much smoother texture. So a reminder to all, try not to lift up the clay right now as it is still wet. So it is best if you leave it overnight first before you try lifting it up tomorrow morning. So once it's dry, you can simply get a spatula or something that can go under the clay and slowly slide it side to side like that. And it should lift just fine. But you have to wait until it's completely dry, okay? Once you're done with that, you can lift up the stencil and see what you've made.
I made this.
So, you know, as you can see, the sides are a little bit wavy and wonky like this. It's all right. Just tap a little bit with your hands and it should smooth just right. Just like that. Don't press it too hard or it will make an indent. Just like that.
My hand is clay.
It's all right. Having clay hands means you're having fun. Clay.
Hi, Dad.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
No?
Got some water problems.
Why do you say something?
So everyone, if you have your shape smooth out like this already, then we can go to the next step.
Not yet.
Once it's nice and smooth like that, you can get the excess clay right here and knead it again, like just squish it a little bit so it mixes well and does not leave little cracks. Then what you want to do, just like before, find a space on your table and squish it down again, just like that. Make sure you're able to lift up the clay this time, okay? So try not to wet the clay too much so that it does not stick and make it a hard time for you to take out. So here, we're going to make a very long line. Not exactly a line, but it's a little bit like the border of the plate.
The light.
So the border of the plate will prevent anything inside of the plate to just get out.
Where are you gonna get in?
This.
Okay, let's keep this on.
You guys can smooth out the top side like this. Like that.
Is this good enough?
Yeah.
Or do you need it in here?
Just like that. And we'll use the cutting tool again. This cutting tool. Make sure you clean it first. All right, so there isn't any excess clay to drag the clay. Just like that. You can peel it off since it's a little bit drier now. That. And with your ruler or anything that is straight, like the edge of the paper maybe, if you don't have a ruler with you right now. And just make a straight line like this.
I'm still working on the heart.
Okay?
Making the edges smoother.
Okay, tell me.
Once you made the line, then make another one more or less 1 centimeter apart. Just like that. And try to lift it up like that, and it should lift up just fine. It is okay if it starts breaking a little bit like this, because later on you're going to eventually put it on and you can smooth it on with the tool later. Just like that.
The heart is ready. Now what? Yes.
So once you're ready with the block like this, you can put it on the side just like that. So we create a wall around the edge of the plate, just like that. And we continue to do it until the whole heart has a wall. At this stage, you do not need to make it smooth yet. We will do that later once we're done with making all the walls on every side of the heart. If you don't have any more, you can simply just cut it again from the excess clay we have a while ago. Just like
I'm just making the circle.
if you have a long piece like mine right here and it goes past the lines that you want, quickly get your knife like this and just cut where you want to cut it, right there. This is so that you can make a perfect edge. Just like that. Now, once you get your wall up like mine, just like this, we can start smoothing out the cracks we have. So how we smooth it out is using the knife we had before. Just scrape the top part of the wall like that to create the smooth and flat edge. This is so that we can bond all of that space we had. Just like that. So dip in the water and smooth out the edges. Just like that. So this tool is the most useful for these kinds of things, okay? So surface smoothing, just like this. This tool is very, very useful. If you have a small indent like I do right here, you can simply just take a little bit of the clay, just like that, a little piece, and put it on top to patch that little dent. Just like that. You may use your hands as well to help smooth out the top. And when you have a lot of excess clay on the knife, you can simply take it off like that and put it back to this, like a stack of clay right here. And just wipe it right there, just like that. So smooth out the top and also the edges. So just like before, with a swiping up motion from the side, swipe the clay and merge the bottom layer and the wall. If you feel like the clay is getting too sticky, feel free to take some water and spread it around on the clay so it is smoother to work with.
What are we gonna make now, Miss?
We're still smoothing the wall that we've made earlier. So this is the barrier of the plate. It's almost like making a pool.
Bunker.
Or a mini pool, I would say.
But you could put a house inside. Here.
So you're not limited to only using this tool, but I do recommend this one to smooth out the surface. So once you're done with the sides, you can simply smooth out the inside part, which I'm going to show you in a while. So for those who haven't catch up, this is your chance to just keep working on it.
I'm gonna clean all my stuff.
Now, once you're done with the sides, you can simply use this foot-like tool with the backside like this, as you can see. So dip this in water again and start smoothing out the inside. So this is a nice tool to smooth out places that you can't
Like
reach
this,
with
right?
your finger. Just like this. So smooth out the inside with some water and flatten the edges right, just like that. So to cover the inside part, so the edges of the inside part may look like it still has cracks, and that is okay if you want to leave it that way, but I would recommend getting a little bit more clay, just scooping a bit like that and sticking it to the side. So this creates this glue that will keep both the parts together, just like that. So after you put it down, smooth it out, and make sure it blends into the shape. Make sure you put a little bit more water in these areas so that it will be smooth and not so grainy to the look.
kind of like what I'm doing.
I already made the barrier and yeah.
So like I said before, excess clay, you may scrape it off the tool with your fingers just like that. And you can dip it in more water and smooth out the part like this. You may also use your finger to help with this process, but since I have long nails, it will be much harder for me. So I decided
Cut
it is
your
better for
nails.
me to Now we can use this ball tool to smooth out the edges as well. So this is more for a finishing kind of tool. So we dip it in water as usual, and we just run it on the side. So this will create that nice, smooth, rounded edge. So we can go back and forth. So we can go back and forth between the tools, and feel free to use other tools too that maybe makes the job much easier. For me, these are the tools that really help me make this plate better. Okay, so once you're done with the shape like this, as you can see that I have, we could put these excess clay aside as well and mix it with the clay that we have on the side. The clay that we haven't used yet, this clay right here, we can open it up, mix it with the clay that we have currently, the excess clay, and mush it up together again. So we'll crumble it up just like that. And maybe if you see your table a little bit dirty like this, get some ruler, scrape out the dried clay. So you have a nice place to work. Make sure these excess clay do not bother your clay making. So you can just simply throw it out to the trash or put it aside like me first and throw it aside later after this workshop is done. So like before, just squish it up and flatten it down again, just like that. Now we are now making the hands of the character. So be careful to not hit your clay that you've made. So when flattening down this clay, make sure you're still able to lift it off. And if you see that it's still too wet, you can wait for it to dry a little bit more because we need to be able to move this to the side of the base clay that we have right here. So just flatten it down like that. Try not to use too much water if it's not for the top like this. So the top is okay to be smooth like this, but the bottom part, even if it's not smooth, it is all right since it's going to be on the bottom anyways. Just like that. So we don't want it too wet this time because we want to be able to stick it to the heart. So just put water on the top side, the part where you want it to be seen. Just like that. And we can take our finger cutout that we had, little cute little hands right here, and we would put it just like that. So we stick it down. Since the clay is not as wet as it was, it is okay to just slap it on right away. Just like that. So now I'm gonna cut it like we did before. So be careful when you're cutting near the fingers. Make sure you don't cut through the fingers. Just like that. Make sure you take away the excess clay. And then cut off the sides again. Make the hand shape. Once you've made the initial shape, you can take out the cutout again. Just take it out like that, peel it off. Just like that, and you have the shape of the hand, like the initial shape. And then you can, so if your first initial layout looks like this, then the next one, you just have to flip it. So this will create the left and right hand. If you already have a left and a right hand, then you can just simply use it. But if you have only one like mine, you can just simply flip it and that will create the left and right hand. So just like the hand before this, cut it out nicely like that. And your figure should more or less be at least like 60% done by now.
I'm just pasting the hand onto the heart.
Just like that. So when you have your figure ready like this, what I like to do is basically make an indent in the arms so that it looks like it has lines, but it's actually just an illusion. So how you do this is basically push a little bit of the clay, just like that, and scrape off a little bit. So using this tool, so the back side of this smoothing tool that looks like a foot, dip it in a bit of water and make an indent on the inside. So this is an optional part. I like it this way because it creates like this little outline, so it's easier for me to paint the black outline later. But it is up to you whether you want to follow
bikin
this
tangan.
or not.
Bikin apa?
Tangan.
So this is a very, very optional thing. So you may edit your figure as much as you want. Just like so. This is to create that detail of the hands. Just like that. To smooth it out using the foot part of the tool, We could just flatten it out just like that. And you'll have something like this. So if once you have details like this, you can do that to the other side.
Miss, it's kind of difficult putting the hands in the heart.
Don't worry, just take your time, you know, grab some clay, like the little clay you have in excess like this, and paste it on the side where you see the cracks and smooth it out with some water. That should make it hold up much better.
Okay. Get this.
Once you have it smoothed out like this, like when you're happy with it already, like for me, this is enough. Then you can simply roll little eyes. This is not compulsory, so you can either roll eyes and make eyes like that, or you can simply paint it on later. So that is a choice, okay? And when you're done with the little details that you want, you are pretty much done. To wait out and see how it dries up tomorrow. Make sure you wait 24 hours minimum so that your clay will have a good time to dry first before you start painting. Just like so. Just like that. See? And now you have a little brie plate. And once it's dried, you know, you can color it to how you want it. It is up to you. But This is what I've made previously. So once it's dry, you can just color it with the paint that you have. And you should have this nice, smooth plate ready for you to use.
Wow. Oh my God. That was actually really fun. I am really happy. That was so fun. I can't wait to show you all what I made. But before that, what is shown on screen is an example of what the final product should look like after it's painted. And Kachika showed it previously during her demonstration, but here is a more close-up photo. So this is the front view, and the next slide should show their side view and the back view, which is honestly so cute. The detailing on the band-aids is honestly, it's really adorable, and I can't wait to paint my own product. So Kachika, could you give us some tips on how we should paint our clay after it's fully dried?
So I would suggest when you paint it, first paint the base color. So before anything else, you should paint it like, if I want my brie to be white, then paint everything white first. Make sure it's all completely covered. Then you can start making the details. So since this clay will produce a little bit of a beige color, so I suggest making it thicker white. So if your paint, let's say, is not enough, the one that was given to you inside that pot, simply get another acrylic paint, anything that you want, any brand, and just paint it over again. So detail wise, just look at the Instagram pages that you guys can see, in the Bynamic Instagram, and you can use those as a reference. And when you make the blush, the fade colors, just simply put a bit more water and it will give you a nice wash of paint.
What type of paint do you recommend for the painting? Only acrylic?
Oh, I do prefer only acrylic, since watercolor, once it hits water, it will just fade out completely. It will wash off. So it's either you use acrylic, maybe gouache is still also acceptable. Or simply any paint that will last a long, long time.
All right. Thank you so much, Kat, for the tips. Next up, we would like to have
I made a fish. It didn't look that good.
Oh, that's great. You can show your fish later during our exhibition. I think this is Daytona, right? Right.
Yeah.
So you can show it to us later during the exhibition. But for now, we would like to have a quick intermission. On screen is a QR code that will lead you to a site to donate to Yayasan Puli. Now, what is Yayasan Puli? It's an NGO, a non-governmental organization that aims to strengthen the capacity of psychologists and social workers, as well as the role of psychology to help achieve equality for cases of abuse, in hopes to level the playing field. By donating to them, you would be fighting for their cause and helping victims of abuse get their justice. The QR code shown on screen can be scanned with your smartphone camera, or you can also visit the link shared in the chat. I really do hope that you guys decide to donate. Just scan the code and give as much as you'd like. We'll leave the code up for a couple of moments. In a while, we will be showing, as I promised, what we have come up with, and we'll get ready to show our creations to the camera. So everyone get ready, and it will be a sort of a virtual exhibition. And again, it's totally fine if you haven't finished your work. The clay takes 3-4 hours to dry. So it's going to be a bit in the beginning stages, which is okay. Again, this is for fun. Please take your time. You can finish on your own time. And I am really excited to see what you guys have come up with. And I'm so excited to see Daytona's fish. All right. So I guess we can move on to the exhibition now. I'll be counting down from 3. And when I reach 1, show your creation to the camera, just like this. Okay. And if you have a bit of trouble picking up your creation from your table, just lower your camera so we can see. Okay. Get ready, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I want to see all of your creations on screen. Right. I see so many cute creations. Oh my God, they are so creative. I see so many amazing works. You guys have done such a great job. Now, you guys can also post your finished creation on Instagram and tag at Bynamic Fest. Okay, everyone, let us thank Kat Chika for having taught us all about making clay. I personally, from the bottom of my heart, would like to thank Kat Chika for instilling a new hobby in me, and I can't wait to create more creations. So thank you so much, Kat.
You're welcome.
Everyone, give a
Don't
round of
forget to
applause.
tag me as well.
Yes,
Don't forget
everyone.
to tag me as well on your creations so that I can see what you guys are made.
Yeah. Kat Chika's Instagram is, again, artfashion_fuse. So tag her and Bynamic. Okay. Let's all give one more round of applause to Kat Chika and a thank you. Thank you so much, Kat. All right. Thank you so much, Leisha, for taking these screenshots. Next up, we would like to promote our merchandise worn by our beloved speaker, Kat Chika. She is currently wearing one of our merchandise, which just shows how awesome it is. It's called Floaty Feeling, and as shown on screen, we have sweaters, stickers, pins, and so much more. To keep updated on our new volumes, make sure to follow at Floaty Feeling on Instagram and Shopee and add our line account. Next up, we have our food and beverage brand, Cozy Pantry. We have cinnamon rolls, chocolate chip cookies, our chocolate dessert box, and new menus every month or so. So find that at Cozy Pantry on Instagram and add our line account as well. And now, having said all of that, let us watch their trailers. Bynamic also offers a variety of competitions such as short story, modern dance, tote bag design, band, solo vocal, and Valorant so that you or your friends can have fun and compete. Registration is closing tomorrow though, so hurry up and register through our website or go to our Instagram at BynamicFest for more info. With that, we'd like to say thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you've had a great time and that this activity has loomed a new hobby for you. Thank you, everybody. And please fill in the feedback form in the Zoom chat because it would be really helpful for us. And with that, you guys can leave the Zoom. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.